Don't have too many people here, but thank you all very much for coming. And thank you for joining us on this discussion panel about volunteering here with the Ombudsman Department. My name is Richard Wirtemburg, and I am an Ombudsman Supervisor here in Albuquerque Metro, and I am very pleasured to be able to moderate this for you all today. All right, so I've been with the Ombudsman Department about 2 years. I have been with the state about 18, and I actually worked in the mental health arena probably before that for about 16 years. So it's a little different for me, but I really love doing what I do, and I love working with this department. It's very rewarding. One thing before I start introducing my panel members here, actually what I want to everyone kind of look around, this is what makes it difficult here in New Mexico is when we start bringing up volunteerism, when we start having these discussions or trying to get volunteers, this is the kind of turnout we get. It's very hard to get volunteers in New Mexico. And that's why we keep getting out here trying to promote it, because it is a very integral part, especially to what we do as ombudsman. And that's what we're going to have some of our panel members here kind of discuss today, is just the fact that being an ombudsman is a volunteer with Ombudsman is an amazing thing. It helps a lot of people. It helps us to reach out to many more residents than what we could do on our own. And I don't think we could do it without them. Okay. So I do have a little panel here of some amazing volunteers, as well as a fellow Ombudsman Supervisor who used to be a volunteer. So I'm going to hand the mic over here in just a second, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get going from there. So here you go.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Fidelis Narvaez. I'm an Ombudsman Supervisor. I've been with the department for about 3.5 years, but I've been in the healthcare field for 26 years.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jackie Kolash. I retired from the state of New Mexico after 29 years, and I've been with the Ombudsman program for 4 years.
Hello, my name is Rorik Rivenburgh. I'm new at this. I've started a couple months ago, so I'm just learning the ropes, and it's been very interesting so far, and I'm looking forward to doing this for quite a while.
Hi, I'm Manetta Maniaci, and I'm pretty new to New Mexico, about 1.5 years. I've only been doing the ombudsman work here for maybe a month and a half, but I was a volunteer in Pennsylvania after I retired for 20 years as an ombudsman in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Okay. So that should tell you too, just some of our panel members, like Manetta said, she's volunteered now in 2 different states. Andrea volunteered for a while and then became an ombudsman. We have another regional coordinator with us that volunteered with us and became an ombudsman. It's a really important thing. And it's when you volunteer with us, it kind of takes a hold of you. Also, I'd like to point out one of our audience members here is also another volunteer ombudsman with us. That's Beth. So thank you for coming too. Okay, so now we would like to discuss with you all with this panel about their experiences of volunteering. And we're going to ask some questions of them. And then at the end, we'll allow for some questions from you all. So first one, I think this is a big one. What motivated you to become a volunteer, and why did you choose to volunteer with the Ombudsman Department? So, Dr. Jackie, let's go with you first.
Well, I decided to volunteer back when COVID hit because I was tired of being at home and had nothing else to do, along with my other volunteer work that I do. But I had applied for Meals on Wheels. Then they called me from the Ombudsman program. So they asked me, why would I want to volunteer? And I had dealt a lot with seniors through a lot of my other volunteer organizations. And I decided the answer that I gave them, I like to know what facility I might choose before I have to go into one. Well, my son puts me in one. And it has been an interesting adventure being an ombudsman. And it helped me a lot because I had to put my mom in a nursing home. It taught me about what I needed to look for when I put her in there. And a lot of nursing homes, I would hate to see anybody in sometimes. And we need to find a way that we can get money, support, so that we can get more staff ombudsman to help get more volunteer ombudsman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rorik, same question. What motivated you to become a volunteer with our program?
The program sponsors a pickleball tournament every year. And interesting thing for them to sponsor. But so I guess you did get a volunteer from that, because a year ago at the tournament, I talked to the people that were there, and I thought, well, that sounds like an interesting position. And I'm also a CASA as well, a court-appointed special advocate for foster kids. So I thought, well, you know, in my as I'm getting older, if you can't tell, I thought perhaps I needed to do some more volunteer work besides playing pickleball. And so I started looking into this program, and I'm still a CASA, and now I'm an ombudsman. So the two of them together keep me busy. As a matter of fact, I had a court hearing at 1:30 in Valencia County today for the CASA program. So I've had a busy day with the volunteer opportunities. So far, so good, though.
Um,
I'm gonna ask you a different question, Ms. Manetta. You get a different one. So it's kind of along the same lines. However, like we talked about, you have been a volunteer in 2 different states. What made you choose to do that again after you moved? Why have you done it in 2 states?
when I came to New Mexico, I really sat down and thought, I want to give back because I have been so blessed with my life. How can I best do that? So, of course, I thought, well, I have this background, I have these skills, I have this experience. And sure enough, last year when I came to this aging conference, there were the ombudsman. So I got hooked in. But I have to say that it's a very rewarding for me. It's very rewarding. My husband says, I could never do what you're doing. But I think you don't need a lot of experience. You don't need a lot of skills. What you need is a caring heart and to be able to listen to people. And I think I'm a good listener. So I thought that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Andrea, you have volunteered with our department before you became a full-time employee, and you did that for about 7 years. So what made you go from volunteering to full-time employee with the department?
Gosh, I love seniors. I love being a difference maker, and being able to know my purpose. You know, in life, we have different careers and we go on different paths. But this was a calling. And knowing that I was blessed to have my grandparents in their late 80s and 90s, this is my way of giving back to my seniors. And knowing that we all are difference makers. We have stories. We do have skills. We're survivors already where we are today. And you hit it. We can be, all they want is to have somebody to listen to them. You know, and if we can listen, I'm coming back for more. I'm coming back for more.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next question I'm going to give out to a couple of panel members here. Please describe for us what a typical facility visit looked like. So what do you do when you go in? So who would like? Rorik, you want to try it? All right.
Well, I want to try it. So the typical visit is you show up, you're unannounced. You go in the facility, talk to the manager on duty. Hopefully the head person is there or the owner of the business, and you immediately ask them for a census of the residents and make sure their registration is up to date and other paperwork, and that they have the ombudsman poster is displayed in a prominent location. And then you snoop around. You just walk around, and if you see somebody in a room, you knock on the door and say, "You mind if I come in and chat with you for a moment?" You tell them what you do, that you advocate for the residents, and they don't know what the heck an ombudsman is. That's a awkward word, and nobody really understands what that means. So you explain what that is and who you're working for, and alleviate their fears that you're not there trying to sell them something, and just walk around to make sure things are in proper order, that the doors are locked, that people can't walk in and get their pharmaceuticals out of the closet, that all the cleaning supplies are put away, those types of things, that the rooms are clean, that there's no smells. And you talk to the best part of it obviously is going in and talking with the residents and asking them how things are going, how's their food, how's their rooms, are they getting enough to eat, do they feel comfortable? You don't want to solicit complaints, but you want to talk to them and listen to them. And if they do say something negative, you try to follow up with that. And then, facilities are very different too. I've got some very nice facilities that I wouldn't mind living in right now. And you have some that are kind of iffy. I don't do any nursing homes. I have 8 assisted living facilities in the Valencia County area. So, and then when you leave, you talk to the manager, the owner, and express any concerns that you have, and how are they going to fix those concerns.
So Rorik brings up a couple good things too. I just kind of want to point out that why we have the volunteers. I know I mentioned it earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that first. So the question is, when we go into the facility and we speak to the owners or administrators, do they know that we're there? Or do they know that we voluntarily come in there? We have volunteers. Yes, we absolutely introduce ourselves when we go into these facilities. We're not there to try to catch them being bad. We're there to try to help make things better for people's lives that live there. And we're there to try to help advocate for them. We want a very good working relationship with these facilities because you get a lot more done with sugar than with vinegar, right? So we really try to have that good working relationship. So that way, when we do go in and we have these concerns, that we're actually listened to, because that actually helps the residents. It's not going to help our lives because I get to leave, but it helps those residents. So the more that we talk to them, the more they know who we are, the better, I think. Yes. And we have someone else who'd like to go on now. Here you go.
Administrators and staff really don't have a choice. They have to work with us, and they know that, and we have the right to be there. But I find that they really embrace the program and view it as an asset to them. And in my experience, I've been called in a lot to help facilities with issues and problems. And I always also want to say, I've just been so surprised here how the residents have really embraced me. It's like, oh, good, the ombudsman's here. Oh, I'm so glad you came. I want to talk to you about something. And some of the residents do know, what ombudsmen are and have had experiences in the past. I think right away, they invited me to resident council, and then I found myself giving a talk to the resident council. I mean, they really embrace the program. And I also want to say this program is really needed because residents who are in nursing homes are so vulnerable and they are dependent on the care of their caregivers, not just the care, but they're dependent on those smiles. And they don't want to do anything to rock the boat or to make somebody unhappy with them. And so for us to encourage them to have a voice, that they have the right to speak out and know that somebody's in their corner is really, really important. You know, I had one gentleman say to me, when I got here, I really needed help and I didn't know if they could throw me out. I didn't know what they could do. He was really scared. And then just finding out that there's somebody from the outside coming in as an advocate for them really makes them feel that they do have a voice. Yeah.
Thank you. And did that answer your question? Good. Awesome. Awesome. One of the things I was going to kind of touch on that Rorik was talking about, sorry about that, is we do go in there. There's a lot of residents that we go to see. A big part, and Manetta kind of brought it up too. Sometimes they just want to talk to you. And that's another big reason to have more volunteers to visit these facilities more, is the fact that some of these folks they're not getting any attention and they just want someone to talk to. They want someone to be there for them, someone to listen to them for a little bit. And that's something else that we offer. We go in and we talk to them. And that can make it kind of difficult sometimes in our jobs, is we go in and someone wants to talk and they start talking for an hour. And again, it's great. I know that they need that, but that means that I get to less residents. So the more volunteers that we have, the more people we have helping this program, the more residents we're actually able to get to see. So I think that's a really big part of it too. Okay. Yep. And Andrea, here you go.
And I think one thing we want to do is empower them. I think they think when they go into a nursing home, their voices have been eliminated at the door. And so when we go in and we're talking to them, the first thing we want to build is trust. Who are you? And so as you go into the facilities, they're getting to know us better and they're getting to know that they can trust us, and we build that relationship with them. And they're scared to say anything, and they're telling us maybe this and that's going on, but don't say I told you. So it's very important for us to also keep confidentiality, because all it takes is one time that's broken and it's over. So we definitely want to encourage them to empower themselves, because they live there. We don't. We go home, and be a self-advocate. And if they're not able to, then we'll, bring in the strong arms, and and be able to advocate for them and help them with their needs, their requests, things that aren't happening that should be. And so empowerment is huge.
Right. So this question's a little difficult, but oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. That's her right here. This is helpful Anne right here. Good. Mm.
The other thing is, I'm just curious because how do you negotiate or navigate between the corporation who has their own set of rules that don't fit a lot of the times into the needs, not this is my experience, into the needs of what the residents need. So
So we have a couple different ways. through what this is, like the volunteering, again, just going to the facilities all the time, talking with the administrators, trying to make things better. We have another process where if we feel that something is not very good, we can send it up to our HCA or healthcare authority, and they can come down and take a look at it, even a little bit more extensive, and see what's going on. What was I going to say? And then the third way, I just lost my train of thought. I am so sorry. Yeah, sorry. Third way came back. Third way we're doing that is as some of the like supervisors and our higher ups, we actually have monthly meetings with some of the bigger companies themselves. So we're actually meeting like with our head honchos and their head honchos, trying to get together on one table to try to make things better. So we're trying to hit that on many fronts. Again, each facility is going to run its own way. So we have people on ground trying to change it there. And we're trying to make differences in a bigger way also, because we also understand that there's a lot of things that are systemic that, you know, we can talk about and fix the company wide instead of just one facility. So we're trying to do that on that bigger front as well. So we really do have the feet in all those fires. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Incident she was talking about, where there were getting complaints about the activities of the facility. I worked with the administrator, wasn't willing to work with me. I offered many suggestions, many conversations, many emails. I kept getting complaints, that nothing had changed. Again, I approached the administrator, still nothing had changed. So I just got to the point where I referred it to healthcare authority. They used to be known as the Department of Health. They're now Healthcare Authority. They actually did go in, do an investigation on that facility, and that facility was cited for not providing a therapeutic, meaningful activities program. Which means when they're cited, they have to put a plan of correction into place. They have to audit, they have to submit those audits to the Healthcare Authority on a weekly basis, monthly basis.
Depends on, yeah.
But anyways, licensing agency was able to go in and hold them accountable. So we've all done that as working ombudsman. If we try to work with the administrators and issues are not resolved, we just refer to the licensing agency and they can go in and do a complaint investigation. That facility can be held accountable. And if it's something that they keep getting cited on, then it becomes a monetary issue. So we ends up having refund. So it's a long process, but it's people like Minda and our volunteers who, you know, who keep those things in the forefront and in the fire. So if they're not changing and people aren't getting quality care, we can act on it. So good job.
Yeah. And just also, oh, out there too. Yeah, absolutely. And just, you know, too, I think one of the biggest ways that we really try to change everything is education. It's not always trying to catch, again, we're not out there trying to be catching the bad guy, right? We're out there trying to educate, and it's not just educating the residents to empower themselves. It's educating staff. It's educating administrators. It's reminding them of regulations. You know, some of our nursing homes, they have state regulations and federal regulations. So sometimes they get those mixed up. So maybe sometimes it's just going in and getting that, like, we're back on the same page. Let's get everyone working together again. Oh yeah, we forgot about this part. Let's get that back going. So sometimes it's a major part of it is just education. Okay. Yes.
I just had one comment as a volunteer that one of the concepts I found that residents need to be reminded of often is that this is their home and they have many rights, that this should feel like their home. If it doesn't feel like their home, then something's wrong here. And then that's what we keep on talking.
That's a great point. That is their home. And that's what we're out there trying to help protect and help them to live a comfortable life in. Okay. Okay, we got one more over here and then we'll get to next question. All right, here you go.
I know you won't ask this question, but I want to say that the program here gives the volunteers so much support. It's really wonderful. The training is great. It's very thorough, and they are available. You know, the staff volunteers, I mean, the staff are there to help us and support us. I also want to say they support other ways, like this wonderful bag and this great water bottle, a lot of, and pens. And, you feel that, you feel the support. And I think that's important, real important. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
I didn't get any of those.
Okay. Some just to kind of also talk about is sometimes it can be very difficult to see and hear the things that we hear and the things that we see in these facilities. I'm sure you can just imagine some of the things that we go in and the complaints that we're going to hear and the stuff that we got to look into. How do you all deal with these types of situations to be able to come back and continue to help these residents? Ray, let's see.
Ooh, yeah, that's a heavy one. I'm also certified peer support for first responders. And so they see the ugly, you know? I'm a ombudsman supervisor, but I'm also certified to do peer support for first responders. And so when they see the ugly, they call me and we talk it through. And so I kind of can relate because sometimes we see the ugly a lot more than expected, or phone calls, our 800 line, you know, the calls that are coming in, whether it's a family member or a resident calling. And so self-care is very important. And we have to have that on a regular basis, you know, because if we don't channel it out, it stays here. And so to me, that's very critical. And having conversations, you know, I did lose someone because she didn't give it enough time, you know, just some of the things that she heard, she just couldn't believe, you know, what she was hearing. And so from that point forward, you know, it's just making sure that if you're having a problem, you know, volunteer, talk to us, let us know what's going on, you know, so we can definitely help you through the process. Self-care, finding hobbies, outlets, doing things, you know, don't get stuck in the mud. You know, let's talk it out. Let's go find some self-care things to do and move forward.
She is her hand up.
Oh, we got another?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I just want to ask you, does that translate to you do have access to therapy if you so think you need it?
So I can actually answer that one. Yes, with our company, with the state, we actually have a program called EAP, and it's the Employee Assistance Program that we can use. However, I think with this team, it's what's really nice is that we all just talk to each other. We're kind of like each other's therapists. When we have bad days, we call each other. When we're having just a really tough case, we call each other, and then we can talk it out. We can also talk out the case and see why we're going to fix it, but we can also just talk about our feelings. So just trying to be there, kind of like Manetta said, we really try to be there for them too as volunteers because it's hard sometimes the things that we have to hear. So we try to be there for each other. And that's the best way I think that we can do it. But yes, we do have those other programs that we could access if we needed to. Absolutely. All right. How do you deal with that? With the stress of hearing?
My biggest stress is when someone dies. And I've been around them for 2 or 3 years. That has been the hardest thing for me because you've gotten to know that person. And 9 times out of 10, they treat you like family. And you feel like you're part of their family. So when something happens, it's hurtful, just as if someone in your family died. And sometimes you have people that come in, they're on hospice. You already know in the condition that they came in that they don't have much time left. But being able to talk with staff has helped me a lot. And I know a lot of people might say religion and state don't mix, but I've gone into meditation. I prayed afterwards to give me strength so I can keep moving forward. Because otherwise, who else is going to be there to help them? You want to make sure the next person has a good home. And every resident, no matter who they are, deserve a good chance in life. Think about if you're in there and you have no family in town. A lot of these seniors have no families, no one to come visit them. That is sad. When you think about you're locked in, well, you're not locked in, but you're locked in somewhere. And nobody you know around you. The only person they know is you. Because you're the one that, you're the face of that individual. And we have quite a few women, but we also need the men. Because some men were raised, they only talk to other men. They don't talk to women. So we need the men's help also, along with the women's help, because we need as many volunteers as we can get. Because we have plenty of facilities and plenty of work that we need to do. Thank you.
Having just started at this, I really haven't had any traumatic experiences or bad experiences yet, so I can't really comment too much on that.
I learned a technique from a caregiver who I thought was pretty awesome. And she told me this, and I started using it. Before I go into a room, I stop, and you could say it's like a little prayer. Lord, help me to engage with this person and to really see them and who they are. And I go in and listen. And when I leave that room, I try to leave that stuff behind so that when I go into the next room, I'm not carrying it with me. But the other thing is that I think has been helpful to me is I'm a fixer. I want to fix things, and if someone has a really, really sad story, my focus is on how can we make this better? And that lifts me. Yeah.
Very much. All right, we got a couple more questions here. We're gonna get it back on the light side. How's that? So, first, what brings you the most joy about doing this task of being a volunteer? And what keeps you motivated when you are volunteering with the Ombudsman Department? What keeps you going every day? So we're gonna go straight down the line again.
Bringing smiles into the facility. It's just making their day, and like they say, smiles are contagious. They really are. If you start with a smile, you're going to end with a smile. And knowing that you're making a difference again, it could be the littlest thing and you get it fixed real quick for them. And so that brings me joy every day. That's what wakes me up. And today I'm going to be a difference maker. Today, something good is going to happen. What motivates me?
What motivates you to keep going?
Every single one of those residents, by a show of hands, how many of us say in our New Year's resolution, I want to be in a nursing home next year? Who says that? Who says that? And this is something I tell staff a lot of times. They're there not because they want to be. Something happened and they can be very young now. When you would think nursing homes, you're thinking in their late years. We're seeing them very young now. So it can happen at any moment to any of us, to our family members, and it's us here. You all came for a reason to hear something. You all can help us make a difference. And so it's that that we need to be contagious about.
Got another question? Run this out there real quick.
What was just said about the smile, the last position I held in Pennsylvania, I was in security for one of the biggest hospitals in eastern Pennsylvania. And there, the biggest sign that had an effect on me in that hospital was give a smile. It may be the only one, pardon me, maybe the only one that person gets that day. Sorry.
That's a great one. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Here you go, Dr. Jack. So what brings you the most joy volunteering and keeps you going every day?
What brings me the most joy is, like she said, is the smile. Because there are times when residents have talked to me and they'll tell me somebody passed away in their family. Next time I go, I'll take them a card, showing them that I care, and they're happy to get it. During Christmas time, all my residents get a card because some of them never get a card. So I make sure everyone gets a card at holiday. And what keeps me going is knowing that I'm doing something to help them. And someday someone's going to have to do it to help me. And if you can't help somebody else, there's no point in living. Thank you.
The biggest joy I get is when I'm talking to somebody and such, and they thank me for coming in and speaking with them and listening to them. So it always surprises me when they say thank you to me, but it's really nice and it makes me want to keep coming back. What motivates me too is, like you, I'm a fixer. You know, if I see a problem, I immediately say, okay, how are we going to get this taken care of? What are we going to do about this? And that's when I take it to the owner or the head manager. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? So that's what keeps me coming back. And if I go back the next time and it's still the same issue, it's like, look, I already talked to you about this. What are we going to do? So I like to motivate them to take care of their issues.
I think what motivates me is the gratitude that the residents have that's very sincere. When you're able to help them, even if you think it's a little thing, they are so glad that they had some help in fixing something. And sometimes it's just that they were able to talk to us. They're just so glad to be able to do that.
All right. And I'd just like to say, I guess for me, I'm going to answer this question too. I think one of my favorite things, honestly, about this job that I have is just talking to people. I think that our history lives through our present, and I get to hear that history through their eyes. And I think that is so amazing. I get to hear about these people's lives and their kids that they've grown up. And some of them are just very, very happy to tell you those stories. And they're amazing that they're going to allow you into their life to know some of this personal information is awesome. And just the fact that I get to do that all the time, like I get paid to go do that, it's amazing, right? I think the thing that keeps me motivated is the fact that I've helped one person, which means I can try to help another. And then tomorrow I can come back and try to help another. I may not be successful every single day, but I know I've helped some and I'm going to continue trying. So that kind of motivates me. Okay. Last question here, and then we're going to ask some questions of the audience here. But what is one thing you would like to tell others who may be interested in volunteering with our Ombudsman department? One big thing.
Ooh, one. Again, we're all skilled in one way or another. We have something. And one of those is we have a set of ears. And even if we have a hearing aid in there, it still works to be a good listener. There's so many residents, again, that don't have family. And they don't want us to, they just want us in the present. just be there with them right now, whether it's just to talk about something going on personally. Maybe they have a new diagnosis, maybe something happened in their family. It's just being a good listener. And we all do that. We all have that.
I would like to say, don't think about it. Don't keep thinking about it. Just do it. Because we all, if we get out there and attempt to do it, you're going to find out how rewarding this can be. Even if this is not your thing, you might find another position you can go into to help. But just do something. Get out, help, volunteer. We need you.
I guess I'd echo that. Is that it's very rewarding. The residents appreciate your being there for them. So that makes you feel good that you're being involved. And it's a great program. The training is very good. I had a wonderful trainer in Susan, and I met the rest of the staff basically this morning. So, and most of them are okay. But highly recommend being involved in the program.
I just want to go through a few things that have happened to me where I've been able to help residents. So you have an idea of what kinds of things you can actually do. I was able, with a lot of work, to enable a daughter to be able to visit her mother. The power of attorney was preventing that from happening, and we worked it out. And this daughter, whose mother was dying, was able to visit her. We got rice and beans put on the menu as an option in a facility that had a lot of Hispanic, Puerto Rican residents, and they wanted rice and beans, and they got it, you know? One woman was going to be forced to move her room. They were going to put her on the first floor. Well, her roommate called me on the phone. She says, "You got to get over here. You got to stop this from happening. They're going to force her to move her bed." This woman viewed her place in that nursing home as her home. And that room and that part of the hallway was her home for years. And to be able to be moved, be forced to move, was a horrible thing. Why? Because she had reached 300 pounds. And there's a rule. If you're over 300 pounds, you got to be on the first floor so they can evacuate her. Well, we worked things out. We got her son to stop bringing her, you know, the slushies and ice cream. And she got on a diet. The facility was very cooperative, and she was able to stay in her room in her home with her lovely roommate. So I was able to repair a relationship between a administrator and one resident. She admitted she just hated him, and he had been moved away from his room because of an incident. And through going through his file and finding some things out about him, we were slowly able to repair that relationship. And eventually he was able to go back to his buddies in a room of 4 people, you know. It really made a difference to these people.
Thank you.
It's one thing.
Oh, yeah.
3 hours a week, this happens. 3 hours a week. That's it. Not 40 hours, in 3 hours, difference makers right here.
So there's some things I was going to say too. Also, for our volunteer program, we ask for about 3 hours a week. Can you give more? Absolutely. But we ask for 3 hours, and that includes our drive time, our paperwork, and getting in to see these people at these facilities, which is a huge, important job. So we're not asking a lot, but it means so much. That 3 hours means the world to some of these people. And that's why we're doing this, right? We're trying to help make a difference. So with that, is there any questions that we have out in the audience? Any other questions? Yeah, all right. Oh, okay. So the question is, how much paperwork is there? Whew. Where do I start? It's about one page. It's about one page. It is one page front and back, but you don't fill out everything. It's just it's a form that has everything on there just in case kind of thing. Well, let's see. How long does it take you to do paperwork, Jackie?
About 15 minutes to a half an hour, depending on.
So about 15 minutes to half an hour per facility for paperwork. So it really doesn't take that long. Again, most of what we do, most of our time is spent in the facility. So we try to simplify it as much as possible. That's a facility visit form. So when you go in, you can do that one form. So we try to keep it simple. We try to make it easy. Because we also understand that some of this paperwork can also bog down stuff, and it can bog down when you're trying to volunteer and do good things and you're just bogged down with paperwork, you're not really able to do those good things. So we do try to keep it very simple, so that way we're spending more time with the people who need us, and that's the residents. All right. All right. We got one more. Hold on.
If you're already going to do this,
Go right ahead, please.
how involved is the training?
How involved is the training?
Yes, sir.
I can definitely tell you that one. Okay, so the training we have I think it's 10 chapters. It's about 10 chapters of paperwork that we go over. And it tells everything from, why we do what we do, all the laws, regulations, and then how we do it. So that usually takes about 3 days to go through all the paperwork. And then we do about 10 hours. I think it's 10 hours or 10 visits with that volunteer, or until they're comfortable. So we go out to the facilities with the volunteers one-on-one, or, we'll take a couple volunteers with us if we have a group, and we go through and we will model what's going on. And then we have them do that in front of us, and we'll keep going with them to different facilities until they feel comfortable going. And then we also try to, we get the volunteers and we try to keep them pretty close to their home. So like Rorik's from down south, so he stays down that way. So we try to keep it, again, we're not asking you to drive hundreds of miles to go visit these places. We're already super stoked that we have volunteers giving up their time. We're trying to make it as easy and as quick as possible for them to be able to do this job, because it just means so much. Good. How do we all know each other? So that's how we meet. Through our department, what we do is once a month, we have a monthly volunteer meeting. And we not only will meet, so we have offices all over the state. And if you can't make it in here to the Albuquerque office, which is where we do the main one, then we also have it over Teams meeting. So it's all on computer, and we all meet throughout the whole state. And we meet with all of our regional coordinators and all our volunteers once a month. And that way, we do trainings with them once a month. And then we also we leave time at the end and we discuss cases. We talk to each other, just whatever's going on. We can try to talk about it then also. So it gives us that chance. Again, throughout the month, they have our numbers, they have our emails, they email us, they call us, whatever we need to do to stay in contact, we try to do that. And then the volunteers are they've seen like commercials, or they've volunteered before, or they've been in an event like a pickleball, and that's how we meet everybody. Because we don't just do like this one. We do host a pickleball. We go to all different types of senior events trying to gain volunteers. Because like I said at the beginning, it's very hard to gain volunteers. So we try to hit as many events as possible to reach as many people as possible. I also, I volunteer for Special Olympics. I've been doing it for about 13 years, and I've actually set tables up at volunteer events. I figured that'd be a good place because people that go to those events have huge hearts also. And so we just try to figure out different places. We put information in community centers. We put information all over, just trying to get that stuff out there. Rorik made a point earlier too. Not everyone knows who the ombudsmen are. And that's something that I have found in my 2 years here, is that when I go in and I talk to somebody and I say, hey, I'm Richie, I'm with the ombudsman. The what? I'm with the ombudsman. What is that? Oh, I'm with the state of New Mexico. We're resident rights advocates, so we can do this. And we have little cards we pass out. And if you're wanting to see any of that, we do have a table in that main hall. We do have the cards that we pass out. We have information about volunteering, information about the program. Please go by and visit that. Again, we try to educate. So we give out tons of information. So yeah, we do a lot of that. Did you have a question? Okay. So how would you get the training if you're not near one of our major city offices, right? Again, we could just do it online. We can do like a Teams meeting. We send you an invite. We both sign on to the meeting. We see each other face to face. And you can do that on a phone. You can do that on a laptop. And then that way we do the trainings like that also. We are a very spread out department. We have offices in Las Cruces. I'm here in Albuquerque. We have them in Farmington, Roswell, and Santa Fe. And so we're kind of spread out. So to get all of us together is pretty rare. So we do a lot of Teams meetings because we can see each other face to face. Yeah, it's nice to call each other, but when you can see each other face to face, those meetings just sometimes mean a little bit more. So we do a lot of that, and we do a lot of the training on that. Yeah, so we will. We do a lot of the training, especially when we do the training on Teams. If we have something on the computer, we can just bring it up and share it right there, and we can both look at the same page. So that way we're on the same page, you know what I mean? In many ways than one. So that's how we do that. And so it wouldn't be a problem. I know some people don't, oh, I'm way out here, and I bet we would still love that. If we can get people in small towns, because we have them way out there in Logan, we have them in Anton Chico, they're all over the place, these facilities. So wherever we can get people to go out to, there's more people that we can reach. Absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Well, folks, thank you all very, very much for being a part of this panel. Thank you, panel members, for being here greatly. We do have a survey we would like you all to fill out, and I will take those and we'll get those turned in. And again, thank you all very much. If you're interested in volunteering, please visit our table and we can get you going. Thank you all very much.